Y'all check this out. Listen.
Where are you from?
India.
India? Yes. What, you too?
Yeah.
How long have you been walking? All day?
All day. All day.
Did you fly into Mexico and then walk the rest?
Walk.
But where did you fly into?
What?
Where did you fly into? What city?
No, only walking. Walking.
How do you walk from India?
Yes. Panama.
Are you from India too?
Pakistan.
Oh, Pakistan. And Pakistan?
Yeah,
Pakistan?
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh. Okay. And how did you guys fly into Mexico and then walk in the rest of the way? Walk? How did you get from Pakistan over to here? You're from Pakistan too?
India.
Oh, India?
India, Punjab.
India?
Punjab.
India. Okay. Yeah, we ran into some of your friends over there.
Police station, how far?
Yeah, this way.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
it is. Okay.
Thank you.
That entire group just claimed to have walked to the United States from India. How is that possible? Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, firsthand, you might think they just don't understand what they're talking about, or they don't understand what she's asking. But you could see he says only walking. I did some research and did some deep diving into what scenario could possibly, because even flat Earth doesn't accommodate walking from India to America. But then I stumbled upon a YouTuber by the name of Vibes of the Cosmos. He basically believes that the way the Masons believe is accurate, in that as above, so below, there's a black sun below us emitting electromagnetic rays that seemingly cast through the earth, thereby creating a reflection on the moon. The dark spots on the moon, he is saying possibly, now maybe he doesn't believe it fully or is just theorizing. I would say this is a theory that the reflection on the moon is actually what our land masses look like. And what he came up with is fascinating at the very minimum. Check it out. Behind me, you'll see the moon and its dark spots. Now, how he explains it is the moon is basically a mirrored and upside down image of what the land masses would be to us on Earth. And when you line the two up, this is what you get. Now, I thought, man, this is a long stretch. This is crazy at first. But then I found this map from World War II, apparently done by Germany. And the resemblance is striking to how close his map is with this one. Now, that doesn't mean anything. I'm not saying that's the case or this is absolute. I'm just saying it's a very cool theory, nonetheless, to ponder. Here's some more of his videos real quick, and you'll see how I'm going to point out where India is in America, and you'll see how it could be possible based on this map to walk the entire way to America from India. A group of independent researchers and archaeologists has just verified that the lost labyrinth under the Hawara Pyramid in Egypt does in fact exist. And they believe that the lost library of Atlantis may be located there. After hiring a company owned by former military specialist Tim Akers, known as Merlin Burroughs, they were able to use military-grade ground-penetrating radar to verify the labyrinth's existence. Mr. Akers used his military contacts to run the scans through military-grade software, which gave them much better and more accurate results. Something similar had been done back in 2008, but it wasn't verified by military-grade technology. So this left skepticism on the table, especially when it came to the former head of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, Zahi Hawass, who has long denied the labyrinth's existence. This, regardless of the numerous studies that have been done that have shown that something is under the Hawara pyramid. But this time, it's undeniable. The scans plunged into bedrock, unveiling a colossal complex of great halls at 40, 60, 80, and 100 meters deep, and even deeper. But unlike previous times, a revelation emerged. A central open space connecting several of these layers, like the atrium of a colossal shopping mall, where several floors converge in one grand central hall, consisting of a massive space, 64 meters wide and no less than 160 meters long. A 5:2 ratio temple chamber, followed by what appears to be a huge gate leading to a cubic space of 80 by 80 meters at the heart of the complex. Doesn't stop there. The scans also provided imagery of another distinct feature, a clearly pronounced circular and, according to Tim, dome-shaped feature, situated some 40 meters below ground level, an underground rotunda approximately matching the size of the Pantheon in Rome. This goes back to French scientist and Egyptologist Albert Schlossman's translations of the Egyptian Book of Death. Legends of a grand golden circular chamber, the Circle of Gold, deep beneath Hawara, where ancient priests inscribed mathematical prophecies in gold, warning of the cycles of cataclysms yet to come. Could this be the grand subterranean wonder whispered to be the lost library of Atlantis, a relic of an Ice Age civilization that crumbled over 12,000 years ago? The only problem is access is thwarted due to it being flooded out by irrigation from nearby rice fields and a channel dug by French Freemason Linat de Bellefonds in 1830, builder of the Suez Canal. This flooded the site and caused a water barrier, and it's been unaddressed by Zahi Hawass and the Department of Antiquities. Seemed less neglect than a deliberate obstacle, guarding what might be humanity's greatest archive. A stone library holding the ancients' most vital message. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. So those of you that have followed me and watched my videos since the beginning know that this whole labyrinth, the lost labyrinth that has been found, is very similar to another story or another video I did probably 3 or 4 years ago. And we talked about it in a live also. And it was basically this story about how the U.S. military in 2001 or 2002 had just developed ground-penetrating radar. And they basically did a scan of the entire Earth. And they found all kinds of basically underground labyrinths, or in this case, this one is actually in a mountain in Romania, the Bucegi Mountains. One of the only other places in the world that has a sphinx, but this sphinx is much more weather-beaten and torn down than the one in Egypt. So I believe personally this whole network is much older. But like the labyrinth, now they're saying it has a dome. Well, the Bucegi Mountain Secrets had a dome as well. And in this dome, there was very advanced tech. And I can't help but wonder if the same situation is going on under the labyrinth. But to give you more insight on the Bucegi Mountain Secrets, I'm going to play my old video for you real quick. It's only a couple minutes long. Check it out. In late 2002, the Pentagon, using satellites with ground-penetrating radar, would discover a large spherical-shaped cavern with a tunnel leading up to it in the Bucegi Mountains of Romania. Now, normally they would look past something like this and not think much of it. But recently, they had made a similar discovery in the undergrounds of Baghdad, Iraq. The only difference, the one in the Bucegi Mountains was much larger, and the mountains had a sphinx nearby. Yes, you heard me, a sphinx, just like the one by the Giza pyramids. So the US would work with Romania, and they would both investigate the anomalies. And what they would find would change the course of history as we know it. As the teams approached the entrance in the side of the Bucegi Mountains, something would activate. It was a large force field blocking the entrance. Shortly after, one of the US officials would get a call. The one in Baghdad activated as well. So when one activated, so did the other. Initially, 3 soldiers would try to walk through the force field, but they would die of a heart attack instantly. So the officials would have to take a different approach. In order to deactivate the force field, you had to reach a higher state of consciousness. It took quite some time to discover this, but eventually many were able to do it. When they finally reached the dome inside the cavern, it also had a force field around it. They opened it the same way. In this, what they would later call the projection room, they would discover perfectly cut large tables and chairs, much too big for present-day humans. They would find over 30 ancient texts written on tablets. That when you slid your hand across them, almost as if a smartphone, they would display a holographic image of the origins of the Earth. Not only that, it displayed every creature that's ever inhabited the Earth and how they came to be. Another station would allow you to mix DNA of any two creatures on Earth, then produce a holographic image of what they would look like. The room would have 3 doors, one going to the Giza Sphinx, the other going to Mount Kailash in Tibet. The third is said to have gone to inner Earth. And that's not all. They would even find a large stone chair with what seemed to be attached to it a helmet. Right away you could see that the helmet was much too large for the average human being. The chair was set for a human about 10 to 12 feet tall, and the helmet would fit the head of this human. They figure it was an automated system that would get you to the highest state of consciousness immediately. Eventually, they would discover that it actually allowed you to use your astral body to time travel. As they proceeded, the discoveries would become even more magnificent. Continue downstairs to a lower level. Here they would notice a pillar-shaped chest in the middle of the room. After figuring out how to unlock it, they opened the lid. They would notice a beautiful white light emanating from the chest. Inside was a white dense powder. This would become known as monoatomic gold. This substance would cause a lot of diplomatic tension due to the fact that when consumed, this stuff could make you live for 1,000 years. Now, I'm not saying that the Lost Labyrinth under Hawara necessarily has all of this type of tech in it, but they said it's larger than the caverns under the Sphinx. And Herodotus couldn't get to the second floor. He could only get to the main floor. The second floor is what contained the dome. I'm guessing that that possibly could be a projection room similar to the one in the Buseji Mountains, but possibly even more vast, even more in depth, maybe even having the lost library of Atlantis. I'm talking information and technology beyond your wildest dreams. Discoveries that would seem so fantastical, we couldn't even wrap our minds around it. But unfortunately, the leaders in Egypt, for some reason, seem to be avoiding wanting to discover the Lost Labyrinth. They seem to be avoiding wanting to excavate it and see what's down there. Now, I'm inclined to believe they've known possibly the entire time that this labyrinth exists, and they're leaving it flooded for a reason. One thing I left out about the Buseji mountain caverns was that there was a button nearby placed on the wall near one of the entrances. Basically, it said more or less, do not push this button. But it let you see what happened if you did. You could activate something that would give you a hologram of what happened if you were to press that button. And when they activated this hologram, they basically saw the entirety of Europe and a large portion of Africa flooded and put underwater. Almost as if when you press that button, it opens floodgates to the waters below. And that button is what could have been behind the flood, the Great Flood. And it's one of possibly more that would flood the entirety of the earth. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I know it's a reach, crazy thought, but cool to ponder. These next videos are just my compilations of my short form that I've been doing for shorts and Facebook Reels. Hope you enjoy. Also, I want to throw in another gentleman who talks about the Illuminati, the Freemasons. He's very knowledgeable, and he has a very different perspective, an educational one that I think everybody should hear. It's a little longer of a video, but very, very educational. All right. Stay in love, stay in light, be kind to others. Out.